Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting of the Lancaster County Council to order. Ask that the clerk note for the record that a quorum of council is present, that the public notice of the meeting, including the meeting agenda, has been posted the required length of time in the lobby of the County Administration Building and on the county website, and that the news media was notified of the meeting time and place. I'd like to welcome you to your county council meeting. I would ask that you take a moment to turn off or place on vibrate any cell phones or pagers. Thank you for not wearing any hats or caps in the council chambers, and please be considerate of others in the room by refraining from conversations during the meeting. I ask that you stand and join council for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation given this evening by Council Member Bryant Neal. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Our gracious Heavenly Father, God, we just want to thank you for this day, God. Just thank you for the many blessings you've given us. Thank you for each one that's here today, God, that cares enough about our county to come. And just be with the council as we try to make the best decisions possible for the people of Lancaster County. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Have a motion from Mr. Griff, a second from Mr. Louise. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Okay, now we're going to move to citizens' comments. Please bear in mind that this is not a period of dialogue with council or a question and answer period. This is your opportunity to address council with your concerns. I ask that you address your remarks to council as a body and not to any individual council members. Please speak into the microphones, state your name and address for the record, and you will have up to 3 minutes to address council. Your time will not start until you have provided your name and address. Cecilia Smith.
Hello, my name is Cecilia Smith. I live at 11079 Caroline Acres Road in Indian Land. And I am here this evening to express my concerns about the amount of traffic and the speed of traffic on Caroline Acres Road. My husband and I had a house built on Caroline Acres Road and moved in during February of 2008. At that time, Caroline Acres Road was a narrow, bumpy, pothole-filled road with very little traffic, mostly neighbors. Within the first year we lived there, Regent Park was opened from Harrisburg Road through to York County, allowing access to Highway 21 and Interstate 77. Traffic on Caroline Acres started noticeably increasing after that, along with the speed. The speed limit on Caroline Acres is 35 miles an hour. Not many people obey it. In 2012 or 13, Caroline Acres was widened and repaved. This nice, new, smooth road was an additional enticement to traffic, with the amount of cars picking up dramatically, along with their speed. In February of 2020, a speeding pickup ran off the road and took my neighbor's mailbox down when he ran off the road and up into their yard, and my mailbox was taken down on his way back onto the road. The day this happened, I placed a call to the South Carolina Highway Patrol, and a state trooper came out and spoke with me. As we were discussing the situation, he said, "Ma'am, I need to ask you a question. Why is there so much traffic on this road?" I explained to him that it was a cut-through to get to Regent Park and thus over to Highway 77. He told me he would make an effort to patrol along Caroline Acres during his shift, but that was right after that COVID happened, and I never noticed any additional patrols. He was concerned about the amount of traffic 5.5 years ago, and the traffic has increased exponentially since then. I respectfully ask for your help in finding a solution to this problem. I helped circulate a petition that was printed to SCDOT. Many neighbors expressed their concerns about the traffic and their willingness to help in any way to reduce the amount of traffic and/or reduce speed. I thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you. Luann Mason.
Good evening. My name is Luann Mason. I live at 10830 Caroline Acres Road, and I recently moved there of June of 2023. We built a brand new house because we loved it so much. We thought it was a lovely area. But it has come to my attention that we have a safety issue, a traffic safety issue on Caroline Acres Road and our neighboring streets, which is Barberville and Harrisburg Road. They have become racetracks, is what they are. They are now dispensers for alcoholic bottles and beer bottles along Caroline Acres, which our elderly neighbors are picking up daily. So our neighborhood has increased speeding. It has a heavy cut-through of traffic during peak hours. Tractor trailers are driving through there in the early morning hours. They are so loud and making so much of a vibration that they set my cameras off that are along the front of my house. I have given Sherry some pictures to share with council of the tractor trailers. It is unsafe for our children, pedestrians, our school buses, our mail delivery, cyclists, to be out on that road at all hours. Last year, or actually last school year, I experienced an incident with my grandson getting off of the school bus. He got off the school bus and the car was coming at such a high rate of speed that it passed right by the bus, blew right by the bus. I asked the bus driver if she had video. She said there is no video cameras on the bus. That was one incident. About 2 months later, a car was on Barberville Road turning right onto Caroline Acres, and my son's house is the second house from the bus stop, where the bus stop is, and the car came around the corner so fast it was raining out, and I don't think he realized the school bus had stopped. He slammed on his brakes, and he probably was a foot from the back of the bus. That's another incident. Barberville Road, the cars cannot make the turn. The corner is too sharp when they are driving at such a high rate of speed and realize they want to go through the cut-through on that road. As Cecilia has said, we have damaged trash cans and mailboxes all the time. Besides the excessive bottles and alcoholic bottles, there's trash being thrown all over. I, too, contacted the police at one point, and they said, get a picture of the car if it happens again and submit it to us. Well, that won't do you any good if you kill my grandson, to be honest with you, or any other child getting off on that street. Caroline Acres Road is now becoming very residential. There's lots of families moving in with small children. We have no signs that say school bus drop off on this road. I noticed one on Barberville Road, thought it was in a really odd area because I've never seen a bus let any children off on Barberville Road. So we would like for a traffic study done of our street. That is one of the things we are requesting. We also would like possibly speed humps or traffic calming circle of some sort, or something to stop the amount of speed with the cars. We also would like a resolution to prohibit tractor trailers from cutting through Caroline Acres Road. I know I'm out of time, but I want to thank you very much for letting me have this time to express my concern.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mario Mason.
Hello, my name is Mario Mason. I live at 10826 Caroline Acres Road, right next to my mother Luann and father Ron. So thank you for allowing us to speak. I have the same concerns that the previous two speakers had. We have two young sons, and we moved here from Mecklenburg County to get into a better school system, which we've been blessed with the Indian Land schools. We're very happy. But the road has unfortunately been a little bit of a nuisance, mainly with speed and volume of traffic. I understand that Harrisburg Road is going to be undergoing a lot of development in the coming years, with schools possibly getting there, more development up Harrisburg Road that's already started. And I would just like to see the traffic slow down. I realize it's not feasible to ask to have patrols out there because the law enforcement probably has bigger fish to fry than radaring a 1 mile country road. But anything that the city council could do to help our community and to help just kind of slow down the traffic so the road is safer for the residents would greatly be appreciated. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Tony McCammon.
Tony McCammon, 2112 Hartwell Lane, Indian Land. I was here on June the 9th when there was a very heated discussion about the residency requirements for a couple of county employees. And then I noticed it was coming up again tonight. So I thought, I like to look at things from my own personal experience, and understanding. So I thought back and I thought, well, wait a minute. If the ordinance says that there needs to be clear residency requirement as part of a job description, then for me, when I moved to South Carolina, I moved to York County, had to go and get a driver's license, and had to set up my voter registration. When I moved from York to Lancaster, same thing. Of course, it didn't make any difference whether I was renting or whether I was buying property, but that was part of the residency requirement, as I understood it. And I couldn't quite tell, but I couldn't see that there was really an issue of whether or not there was a residency requirement. It was like, has it been done? Or I don't know. It seemed very confusing, that's the whole issue. And then I thought, well, one of the comments made was that there should be, we don't want to block out people from applying for jobs in the county if they live somewhere else. And once again, I looked at myself and I said, when I moved here, I applied to X number of schools. Some of them were Christian schools. They were church related. Some of them said that I had to be a member of the church if I wanted to teach there. So I had to make some decisions. And I'm thinking, if somebody wants to come and work in Lancaster County and they're appraised of what the requirements are, then they have some decisions to make. But they need to know clearly. I'm hoping that whoever these employees of the county are, that it was clear to them what the residency requirement was, and that it exists and that it is part of law. So I guess what I'm asking is, as you're talking about this tonight, that if there's going to be an exception made, then make it clear that this is an exception. If we're going with the ordinance that as it stands right now, then make it clear. And, let's not have any ambiguity as to what the requirements are according to that particular ordinance. And I know that you all are, very invested in making our county into a place that is lawful and that everybody obeys the ordinances. So I'm just asking you to keep that in mind, because it's confusing to some of us who are not employees of the county. But I do appreciate you having the opportunity to say something about this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin Gribben.
Kevin Gribben, 10414 Bethpage Drive in Indian Land. To be honest with you, I am not prepared right now. The person who was helping me with my discussion has not arrived yet. So I will just say that one of the reasons that I'm here is because of the traffic in Indian Land. It has grown substantially in the 18 years that I reside in Sun City. On my way down here tonight, and I was in Lancaster eye doctor this morning, there is nobody on the roads coming down south of, I'll say, Van Wyck. The northern part of this county is jammed with traffic and is only going to get worse. I know that there was an item on the ballot, I believe, last year, looking for funds for 521. I would only encourage you to be more specific on what you want. In my heart, as you know, or as you could know, I am not from here. I'm from New York City, and the traffic up north is really bad, but it's getting worse in Lancaster County as well. So I would just encourage you to be more specific with regard to what you're looking for, and hope that when you itemize on the next ballot for funds to be for 521, that it is more specific to where you need the traffic control and the additional roadways is in Indian Land. You do not need it down here. So I thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thomas Mardani.
Good evening. Good evening, y'all. My name is Thomas Mardani. I live at 10017 Strike the Gold Lane, Waxhaw, North Carolina. Here tonight because we have an application for rezoning. Just wanted to let y'all know that we are here to answer any questions y'all may have later this evening. I appreciate y'all's time. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have one electronic submission.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. You do not have copies of this at your seats. I will email a copy of this to you. I was just handed it tonight, so that's why there are not copies at your seat. This is from Barbara Scannell, Indian Land, South Carolina. She writes about the transportation tax. She said, "Thank you for submitting a grant application for the widening of Highway 521. We would like to know if the grant was approved, and if so, for how much." And then she goes on to address concerns about the referendum and the transportation sales tax proposal and concerns that she has. So this will be emailed to you tomorrow morning.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to item 6, special presentations. First item is 6A is a report on work of Palmetto Pride Club at the Indian Land High School. Isabella Correger. I know I butchered that, but
Good evening, council members.
going down just a little bit. There you go.
Good evening, council members. My name is Isabella Correger, and I'm a rising senior from Indian Land High School, and I've been a Palmetto Pride Youth Ambassador for the last 8 months. And the work that I'm most proud of is the founded Palmetto Pride Club at my school, Indian Land High School. So these are 3 major projects Palmetto Pride has completed this year. Each one helped us make a visible difference in our school and community while engaging more students in environmental leadership. On the left, we founded an Eco Eats fundraiser to raise awareness and funds for litter prevention. We sold Krispy Kreme donuts in recyclable containers to reach our goal. In the center, you'll see our renovation project. Using our recent funds, we cleaned and beautified an area in front of our school that had been neglected for years. What started as a cleanup became a shared point of pride. Students gave up free time, and the transformation made a clear, visible impact for our school. And on the right, our 521 highway cleanup. This was part of the larger SC Sweep campaign sponsored by KLCB in collaboration with Indian Land High's Red Cross and Beta Club. We worked safely, collected a surprising amount of trash, and got students talking. It showed how powerful student-led work can be. Our work didn't go unnoticed. These mentions are different ways our efforts were recognized. On the left, an article published by Ms. Cateau about our efforts in collaboration made with an ILHS. Next, a newsletter cover for ILHS. And lastly, an essay written by me about the importance of farmers in agriculture and in our community. This kind of coverage turns our school projects into community pride and sends a greater message. Here you can see basically simplified or quantified scalable metrics, all the impact that has been made so far. So our growing number of 30+ volunteers. So far we've raised $1,000+, and lastly, we've collected over 50+ amounts of debris, trash in our cleanups. Efforts like these don't just keep our county clean, they teach responsibility, bring communities together, and spark leadership in young people. If you look on the screen, you can see quotes from people and volunteers in our projects or other members in our club. They share how it makes them feel satisfied to work towards helping the community that they live in, and that it gives them a sense of responsibility they didn't have before. This work can grow from a school project into a lasting impact if we continue to make it known how important the environment is in South Carolina. I encourage the council to consider setting aside support, even modest, for youth-led cleanup events, awareness campaigns, or partnerships with local clubs. A little help goes a long way in sustaining these efforts. Here above the screen, you'll see different ideas of what we plan to do moving forward with the Palmetto Pride Club. Thank you for your time and for hearing about our work made in Indian High School. I truly believe that a cleaner Lancaster is a shared effort, and with your support, students like me will continue to lead change.
Thank you so much, Isabella. I think she deserves a standing. Getting a couple of photos of you back there. While we're getting the photos, we want to have Hannah Feely come up from Palmetto Pride.
One thing I would like to add, I'm so glad she's a senior next year because we're going to enjoy working with her some more. So, yes, Hannah?
Hello, my name is Hannah Feely, and I work for Palmetto Pride, and we brought Isabella on as a youth ambassador this past year, and we're just so proud of all the work that she's done in Lancaster, especially the work that Mandy Cato's helped with as well. She's been crucial in assisting Isabella's club, and a part of the youth ambassador role is a scholarship, so I'd like to be able to present that to Isabella now, if that's okay. That's all right? Okay, I think check that. Yeah, where'd it go? So thank you, Isabella, for everything you've done and for all the inspiration that you've brought to your community. We're so proud of you and are so excited to see what you do next. So, yeah, would you like to get a quick picture? Okay. Here, why don't you get in the middle? It's your money.
Can we see it up back here?
Yes, of course.
Thank you again so much for all that you do for our county and for your community. We're going to go move to item 6B, recognition of awards won by the Lancaster Watershed Boards and their board of members, and update on rehabilitation reports and other work by the boards. Ms. Roberts.
And I know Miss Isabella, she is going places. I've already told her. So I can't wait to see what else she does, but she's phenomenal. I'm Amanda. I'm with the Conservation District, and tonight I want to share some awards. During our annual conference that we had in Columbia, Donnie Little, he's here in the audience. You can stand up or wave your hand. He won the Outstanding Watershed Director of the Year for South Carolina out of all of our watershed districts. So we want to say congratulations, job well done. And then I got Jacob here tonight. He is representing our Little Lynch's Watershed Board. Little Lynch's is the watershed board that kind of protects the town of Kershaw from flooding. That board also won a state award, and they are the Outstanding Watershed District of the Year for the state of South Carolina. So, you know, when we go to the state conference and we're putting in for awards, that's just showing our partnership, how we all work together here in this county. So without, you know, your support, we can't go win awards like we did and kind of bring home all the watershed awards this year. So thank y'all for coming tonight. Thank you. All right. Okay. All right. Because they do volunteer their time. They don't get any money, so, you know, bless their hearts. But I'm going to give you a little report. Back in 2023, We talked about the watershed boards applying for dam rehabilitation funds through our federal partner. We received those funds, and in '24, the NRCS hired a third-party engineering company to come out. They did inspections, and right now NRCS is going over the draft reports, and then once we get those draft reports, I will be sharing that with emergency management as soon as I get those reports in my office. I am also, DES, South Carolina DES had a grant that came open. At first, we were not eligible for the grant because we were a government agency, and then we had the PL 566 lakes. Well, they redid it, and they said we were eligible. So right now, I have wrote a grant for getting rain gauges to put on the risers for our watershed lakes, so that way we can see real-time data during a storm. Now, I already know after talking and kind of getting some bids and talking with companies, my budget's not, I'm going to have to start small, but just note that as I start small, we're going to keep going, and that's just one thing we're going to add to try to do our public safety to protect lives downstream since we have those 5 flood control lakes. So as we kind of move forward, you're probably going to hear more about that as I work on things. Now, I am going to kind of move over to the Soil and Water Board. Soil and Water Board, we created a youth board this summer, so we do have a youth board that's kind of helping us, and I'm excited about where the youth board is going in the community projects that they're going to be able to do. Now, I'm going to give you an update on our seed library because that's kind of the biggest education project. And I know when I came in here in budget time, I had this big goal of giving away all kinds of seed packets. Well, from January the 1st to July 1st, we have given out 15,510 seed packets here in Lancaster County. During our Soil and Water Stewardship Week, I reached 17,000 people 1 week social media. In the months of April and May, we reached 53,000 people on social media, just on our Soil and Water page, kind of just pushing our programs. So with those things, we see big things coming. Now, we partner with the library for our seed library, and we have been getting requests about where's the adult programming at? Do you have any adult programming? So guess what? We're fixing to have adult programming. So we are working with all of our ag teachers here in Lancaster County, and I'll make sure Sherry gets the flyer, but once a month, we're going to meet at the main library branch. Our first meeting is going to be on August the 28th at 5:30, and our topic is going to be creating a fall garden. We're going to have giveaways free. It's going to be free for the citizens, but we're going to be limited to about 40 people per class. We hope it's a hit. We're also going to have canning, I think, in September. We're going to have fall arrangements in October, and then in November, we're going to have the charcuterie boards right before that fall, Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we're excited about the programs that we are growing in our little office and our partnerships. So thank y'all so much for all of your support that you give us where we can come in here and show you all the good things we've been doing. All right, do y'all have any questions for me? Y'all good?
Do you have any questions?
I'd like to thank you for what y'all do for the county.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Those numbers are impressive.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, y'all have a good evening. Thank you so much.
You too. Okay, we're going to move on to item 6C, is video recognition of the nominees in the winner of the Lancaster County Ted A. Rant Board Member of the Year Award for 2024-2025. Board Member of the Year is a highlight that we get to have every year that honors members that are nominated by the boards that they represent, and we have a third-party group that takes all of those nominations and they go through them and they decide who the winner is. So we had a little video shows from that ceremony that happened about a month or so ago. What you do matters. And a thank you to our media group for them putting that together. They did a terrific job. And again, it's always a special time for us to be able to get together with some of the volunteers that have been nominated for awards. We're going to move on to item 7, which is our consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve consent agenda items 7A, 7B, and 7C.
We have a motion. We have a second. Second from Ms. McGriff. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It passes unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, you just mentioned our communications team and the video that they just did for the Board Member of the Year event. I also want to highlight we have not met since we have added another team member to our dynamic team in the county workforce. I am pleased to introduce tonight that we have hired a new communications and marketing director, and we have Miss Jenna Woods from the area, lives in the Beaufort community, who's in the back there, and so she is now leading our communications and marketing team. So we want to make sure that you all could put a name with a face going forward, and we're glad to have her as a new addition to the county team. So welcome, Jenna.
She got welcomed to the team with a blast. I think the first event she got to cover was the fireworks show out at Beaufort Rec Center. So if you did not get a chance to go out there, I encourage you to mark your calendar for next year. It's a very good event. The Parks and Recreation Department did a terrific job. Okay, we're going to move on now to item 8A. Public hearing and first reading of ordinance number 2025-1977. An ordinance to amend the official zoning map of Lancaster County to rezone 9.18 acres of property located on Potter Road, Lancaster, South Carolina, from RN Rural Neighborhood District to INS Institutional District. Planning Department case number is RZ-2025-0857. The Planning Commission recommended approval by unanimous vote, and the planning staff also recommended approval of the rezoning request. Ms. Williams, as you come forward, we have a public hearing scheduled. No one signed up for it, so we'll move right on into, if we could have a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second. Have a motion from Mr. Mosteller and a second from Mr. Louise.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, Council. Tonight, this is the first rezoning we have. This is, as Chairman Carn said, a request to rezone 9.18 acres of land from RN to institutional. As you can see from the picture, the area highlighted in the red block is the 9.18 acres that this rezoning request refers to. This is owned by Pleasantdale Baptist Church, which also owns the institutional that's directly north of this property. So there's a better picture on this slide to kind of give you an idea. The church is at the top. The church also owns the middle parcel there, and the lower parcel is theirs as well. They wish to combine these parcels to make it one church property, contiguous property, and in order to do so, they need this rezoning to institutional. We recommend approval because this is something that will allow them to combine their property. It matches the zoning, obviously, because it's contiguous to institutional, and the Planning Commission also unanimously recommended approval of this rezoning. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer those.
Do you have any questions?
Mr. Chair, this is in my district, and I totally support this for the church. They expanding out there all the time and need more property and stuff, and this would be great for them, so I totally support this.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I got two questions. Are there any specific plans for the property?
Not currently. They said that in the future they do have expansions. There is they have a partnership with the Coguchito Academy to have temporary there's temporary school there, but that's on the property that's already been rezoned, so this is completely irrelevant to that action.
And just to be clear, zoning it to institutional, if something would happen to that property, would be transferred or sold. What could be placed on that 9 acres?
Institutional currently allows for churches, schools, civic government type properties.
Yeah.
Have any other questions? Not, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, it's unanimous.
Mr. Chair, I got a question for maybe April. Since this passed 7-0 and on first reading, could we invoke this into doctrine?
Pending ordinance.
To where they can move on with this procedure?
They could start the combination, because they will have to get the survey and do the plats at that time too. So they could start on that. If you guys, that would be invoking the doctrine would be an attorney privilege question, but timing-wise, I don't think that they need that right now because they said that they don't have plans currently for this property.
But they basically just wanting to move it along and get everything done and everything.
They want to start the rezoning so they can get the survey, so they can combine the property, so it's all one property. So when they are ready to do something, they have this done.
Okay. So we'll see how far this goes, and I'm gonna ask again to invoke this into doctrine to move it along.
I think, are you talking about the pending ordinance doctrine? Is that what you're thinking about?
Yes.
That usually is when you're doing text amendments or so forth to the UDO to stop different things from coming in. It's not usually used on something like this. I know what you're going for.
Yeah.
It's not usually used on something like this because this is just one particular piece of property. It's usually used when you're doing a broader based amendment to the UDO or such to say that you're changing, like we did with the asphalt plants and so forth, where you were changing so they went into effect at that moment and stopped any more from coming in. So it's really not used in this situation, but I understand what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I'd like to see this be able to move right along for them. So, thank you.
We could request that it be placed on the non-consent agenda so it does move forward quickly with the regular patterns, if you'd like that.
Yeah, it's
That's
going
okay
to
on this side
consent
of it.
agenda, right? Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to item 8B, public hearing and first reading of ordinance number 2025-1978, an ordinance to amend the public zoning map of Lancaster County to rezone approximately .44 acres of property located on Field Thurman Drive, Lancaster, South Carolina, from GB General Business District to MDR Medium Density Residential. Planning Department case number is RZ-2025-1016. The Planning Commission recommended approval by unanimous vote. However, the planning staff has a neutral recommendation regarding this zoning request. Ms. Williams, if you'll come forward. Again, we have public hearing scheduled. No one has signed up for it, so we'll move on to questions. Anyone have any questions?
Would you do a motion first to get it to the floor?
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
Questions for?
Yeah, I do. I wanted to know why the staff didn't have a recommendation.
Because there are arguments for both sides, and I can lay those out, and I will lay those out for both sides of the question. If we are to give you a recommendation at that point, it wouldn't be based on the facts, it would be based on an opinion, and staff is not prepared to give an opinion on this case, as that is your judgment to give.
And why is that?
Because we are not the decision makers in this decision.
I mean, but don't you usually give a recommendation?
Typically, we do if it's clear and there's one recommendation either way. When I'm doing the presentation, I will highlight the things that we can weigh against each other. And because it's varied in the way, it's ultimately your decision, and we don't feel comfortable giving a recommendation because of the ambiguities of the item.
Well, go ahead and start the presentation, and then let's see if we can address that when she does the presentation.
Let me just say this. I look forward to your recommendation as staff and the commission's recommendation. That puts me in a position to know whether I need to ask questions or not. So when you don't have a recommendation, that confuses me, and it makes me think that something is
I have noticed that, and I noticed your comment last time. We are working, I finally have my planning staff together, and we're able to open up and do a lot more. And that is one of the things that we are changing, is how we do our staff reports and our presentations. So in the future, if we ever have one like that, that it's kind of vague and we don't have a clear-cut recommendation, we're doing a chart, and it's going to be much more clear as to what that would be and why we don't have one. So this will be the last time that I don't think it'll be 100% clear for you.
This is in my district, so that's why I'm concerned.
Yes, I will explain a lot in there. This property, as we mentioned, is located off of Phil Thurman Road at 0.44 acres. The property is currently zoned GB, as is the surrounding property, as you can see on the map. However, the uses on most of the properties that are zoned GB are residential. There are apartments and some, I think, townhomes in the area that are on property that would technically be considered non-conforming at this moment. The applicants are requesting to have this rezoned to MDR, which size-wise would fit, and it does fit some of the other area. It also matches the comprehensive plan because this is near the city and it's labeled as growth. It's labeled as growth area. The pictures here will show you the block area is the property in question. If you can see down the road off of Linwood, there are apartments down the road from the posting, and there's also some other multifamily homes in the area. These are also zoned GB. So if any of those for any reason would have to be changed or redone or rehabilitated more than 50%, which is the status for changing, they would also have to go through a rezoning. There are several areas in and around the county that we've noticed that have to have some research done, and this is one of those, to potentially do a consensus rezoning, which means that this property and the several others around it don't really completely match the zoning that they are currently, and that needs to be cleaned up. We've noticed several other areas as well. I think we had one of them a couple months ago as well. And that one was very close to the city. So that is one of the reasons that we don't have a recommendation, because the request to rezone matches the uses in the area. So there are other residential areas that are close to this, surrounding it as well. But it doesn't officially match that zoning, but we acknowledge as the planning staff that we're going to have to do the research and potentially bring back a larger rezoning of the area. Another area to look at this is it's surrounded by the city, GB property and city property. There's also a church that's zoned GB, which usually churches could be in other areas, but typically they are zoned INS. And there are also there's one commercial lot, and then there's a GB zoned district that has residential property on it. So because of the conflicting zoning and use of this area is why we do not have a specific recommendation. We do note that the single-family home would fit the uses of the area because the uses are primarily residential. The zoning is GB in this area, and that does not match the single-family. So those are the clarifying answers. I don't want to tell you, yes, I think this is a good idea. No, I do not think this is a good idea, because that is not a requirement for staff to do. However, given the information, we do acknowledge that something needs to change in this area. So that's about as much as a recommendation that I can give you. It's ultimately up to you guys to determine what we need to do specifically with this one, as the customer, the owner of the property, has requested this one at this time. Planning Commission heard the same presentation, and they recommended approval at their meeting in June.
Well, this parcel sits off of Linwood. It's not but 0.44 acres. There is residential across from it. You would have to combine it with another parcel to get a business there, and where it's sitting off that main road, I think that residential is the best use.
Thank you. Do you guys have any other questions? Or as he mentioned, the applicant is here as well. He would be happy to speak to you if you have any questions for him.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Mr. Graham.
just curious, I mean, with the MDR, how many single families could they put on this .44?
Just one. Because it has to, and math is not I will never win any awards for math, and off the top of my head, I can't tell you. But the minimum lot size has to be at least 10,000 square feet for the MDR.
Okay.
And then the lot widths and all that, they couldn't put more than one on there for this one.
And we was just having a sidebar here and you said it may not happen again, but I would love to, if it happens again, to have an analysis and tell us specifically why you are not making a recommendation.
Yes, ma'am, and that was our intentions. We've discussed about changing our template of our staff reports, and that's going to be in those.
And if I understand it correctly, the concern that you have is the requested zoning classification is consistent with the existing uses, but the existing zoning is not consistent with it. And so there's a discrepancy between those two. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I agree with Mr. Harper. I think this is the highest and best use of this property as a residential property just because of the constraints of the site itself.
Have any other comments? Not, a call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, it's unanimous. Okay, we're going to move on to item 8C, public hearing and first reading of ordinance 2025-1979, an ordinance to amend the Unified Development Ordinance, Chapter 7, Section 7.2.4, off-street loading and parking requirements, to extend the ability to use off-site parking options between 600 to 1,200 feet from a business with certain conditions met. Planning Department case number is TA-2024-0344. Planning Commission recommended approval by unanimous vote, and the planning staff also recommended approval of this text amendment. Again, we have a public hearing that was scheduled. No one signed up for it. So can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion from Mr. Harper, a second from Mr. McGriff. Ms. Williams.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair and Council. This is my last section, so you don't have to hear from me anymore tonight. This is a text amendment to Section 7.2.4 of the UDO. You have that ordinance and the text amendment in your packets. The proposed amendment relates to a code enforcement matter and is intended to allow satellite parking to be a more viable option for businesses requiring additional parking while still allowing the county to exercise appropriate oversight for properties wishing to utilize satellite parking. The planning staff and the planning commission recommend approval of this, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those for you.
Any questions?
I had one question. So how do we ensure that such satellite parking is not compounded and multiple parties get access to the same satellite parking?
I believe in your packet there's in there, I will preface this by saying this is not one of that I've had my hands deep in, but it will be a contractual agreement that they have to file before they get that access. So it's an agreement between the person requiring the parking and the person allowing the parking, and they have to turn those in, so we would be able to monitor it. We wouldn't allow 5 people to have the same contract for the same parking area.
And that's what I'm asking, like, how are we ensuring that and making sure that nothing falls through kind of the cracks?
I will have to create a reporting system and keep it as we give permits for it.
Okay.
So we don't have a lot of requests for satellite parking, so it won't be a monumentous task. We'll be able to do it in-house.
And that's what I was trying to get to. I just want to make sure that this isn't going to add an additional burden to county staff that then becomes something that's overwhelming that we have to constantly be monitoring and checking because all those contracts are individual. So
Yeah,
I'm trying
I
to
don't
look out
think
for
it's
you
going
all.
to be that big of a problem.
Okay.
Additional questions, comments? I have to call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, it's unanimous. Move on to item 8D, first reading of ordinance 2025-1980, an ordinance to adopt amended policies related to travel reimbursement and a performance evaluation included in the Lancaster County personnel policies and procedures in accordance with Lancaster County Code. Chapter 4, Article 4, relating to the Lancaster County personnel policy. Is there a motion to approve? Have a motion from Mr. McGriff. Have a second from Mr. Neal. Ms. Harris.
All right, good evening, Mr. Chairman, council members. We're bringing forward tonight 2 recommended revisions to the county's personnel policy. The changes include revisions to the travel reimbursement procedures and the inclusion of a floating holiday as part of the performance evaluation process. And so back in September 2024, council approved updating the personnel policies. And so that included a change to the travel policy as it relates to the per diem rates. We adjusted to adopt the General Services Administration or GSA rates. That they vary based on the location that we're traveling to. It recognized the rates for, they were higher for going places like New York, California. It costs more to do that. And in last year's budget, well, because it was a mid-year change in the travel policy, that year's budget didn't account for the change. So we did not implement the change to the GSA policy at the time. And, departmental budgets didn't have enough to support it. And so we didn't implement then. And so some of the concerns included were when we went through the budget process this year, there was a significant increase in the departmental travel budgets in their initial request, just a little over $100,000 in additional funding requests just to support the change in the travel policy. And so we determined that going back to the existing flat rates that we had in the travel policy would be more financially sustainable for the departments. All right, and so our recommendation today is that we would, in our current personnel policy that was approved in September, that we would delete all use of the language and reference to the GSA rates and to reestablish the county's flat per diem rates, as our reimbursement model. And in doing so, we would, as a part of reviewing the travel rates, we would include that as a part of the budget process annually, and that we would write that into the budget ordinance each year, that we would not just review the travel rates, but if we were to increase them, then the increased rates would be included as a part of the policy, not policy, but as a part of the annual budget ordinance in the adopted budget. And we would also update that information on the finance intranet site to align with that each year.
Any questions?
My only concern is you mentioned 2 words, California, New York. Why are we sending people to California, New York? I mean,
Those are just examples.
All right, well, I mean, okay.
Well, even
but I would
even,
like to, I mean, for second reading, could we have a list of the expense that we spent on travel and where they gone and what certifications they obtained? That's my big concern.
I was going to ask a similar question just along those same lines. If we could get kind of as part of our updates that we get as the monthly update, kind of given information on what travel has occurred, where they've gone, and to Mr. Harper's point, what are the certifications that we're using, what's the benefit that we're getting out of it?
And I do understand the meals and the lodging could be higher in different parts of the country. But do we have a flat rate, like a federal rate when it comes to actual travel miles?
The only rates that we have that are outlined in the policy before the personnel change are related to meals and incidental expenses. And so the meals are right now at, well, in that policy, $30 for the travel day, traveling to and traveling back from the event. And for those days in between, it's a $40 flat rate, and that's only related to the meals and incidentals. And so the hotel expense or airline or the registration event is just the cost of the event. We've never tied it to the location. It's just based on where you're going. You would look for, the policy says, the most economical as far as hotel and travel. There's no upgrades. There's no premium options. You would fly economy if you fly.
referring to if you drive, what is
The mileage, we do the
Right, so
standard
the
mileage rate. based-
We follow the IRS rate. Yeah, we follow the IRS rate for mileage, and that's updated January of every year, and so we do update that.
what is that rate now, present?
I'm not sure. It might be 60, I think it's about 65 and a half cents right now. I might be off a little bit, but it's around that.
But I think back to your question about location, you'll see the more metropolitan areas is where GSA currently, so even if you're going to a Chicago or Miami or somewhere, it depends on, they have higher rates that they would reimburse for. But we'll get the travel information for you.
Yeah, and just track it just so that we can see what's happening and just kind of the education that we're getting. And
Any other questions?
The second part to the action request tonight as well, related to personnel policy. Ms. Harris, if you want to cover that part?
Yes, and so this is related to the floating holiday. So county administration recommended a new provision recognizing a floating holiday that would align with the appraisal, the performance appraisal tool. And so the way that it's being proposed that we lay it out is that the floating holiday will be awarded to employees that achieve a certain score on their performance evaluation, and performance evaluations are happening right now so that we can establish a baseline for that. But based on that scoring, which would be around the 2.5%, which is just above meeting the required score, the employees that are eligible would earn a floating holiday that they would be able to use in the next fiscal year. And so evaluations are happening right now. The way the evaluation process is set up is that there's an initial goal setting that would happen. The supervisors will come back together with staff about half a year, right about December timeframe, to revisit the goal and then come back again at the end of the year to score and give a full evaluation. And so that scoring, based on that scoring that would happen in the June timeframe, is where we would identify employees that are eligible and they could use the floating holiday in fiscal year 27.
And so let me make sure I got the timeframes right. So we actually do the evaluation on the calendar year, and then the floating holiday would be recognized in the fiscal year. So we are basically doing from evaluations, and we're in a transition period with this, but basically through December 2024. So we're because people are in there. We're doing our 25 goals right now, so we haven't evaluated the full year. That's why make sure we're a little off on calendar year versus fiscal year. And so they finished their goals for 24 in December. Then they started their new goals for 25, still catching up for some, but then you reward whatever their score is from their 24 goal to be applied for a floating holiday in the fiscal year starting July 1.
This will help us build our budget, right?
Exactly. Well, in the future, so ultimately, if you move to a pay-for-performance structure, that way you kind of know how many would be eligible before you get to the budget season for a performance enhancement bonus.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
is there any way we could split these two items? I support half of it, but I'm on the fence on the other.
You got a motion to divide? Oh, no. Can we do a motion to divide? We do a motion to divide.
Okay, well.
Jenny, can we do a motion to divide?
It's one ordinance, there's not two ordinances.
It's not two questions, it's one ordinance with both questions included, so the motion to divide would not work in that situation.
And this is the first reading?
Yes, ma'am.
We can keep it on non-consent.
could we move it and then revise it at the next one?
Yeah.
Yes.
And we had,
Now, which part would you want Steve to?
I'm concerned about the expense. I just need a little more time to study that.
Yeah, I'm concerned about that.
So tell us what it's going to be so we can understand where you're coming from.
I just want to understand what's the additional cost going to be by moving these expenses up? That's what it's going to be, isn't it?
no, we're
I
actually
think this is a
moving
reduction.
backwards.
We're backwards.
If we went to the GSA, we would be paying more, but we're going back to where we did it before, so.
Are you talking about for the costs on the per diems, or are you talking about the cost as associated with the holiday per diems? Okay. Yeah, I think the cost per diems is going to reduce the cost, if I understand that correctly.
That's correct. If we revert back to the flat rates, yes.
Basically, on the meals, are you going to continue giving a cap of what you can spend per day?
Per day? Per day?
It's $30 for the days of travel, and it's $40 for the days in between. So on the day you go, it's $30. If you stay for more than one day, it's $40 for each additional day. But on the day you travel back, it's also $30.
Do you have any other?
No, I'm not going to. And just let me say this. I hope this does not influence anybody's decision. But when we travel to the Isles of Palm, breakfast is $40. I just want to say that. Lunch is that. So, and we as council, and I'm sure staff has to do the same thing. It's hard to find a meal, 3 meals a day for $30. I mean, it's just, it doesn't happen anymore. It just doesn't. You can go to the stack machine, but honestly, our meal at dinner, if it's not being, sponsored, is more than $30 and sometimes more than $40. And I'm not going this year, so it won't affect me.
Can I ask a question on just the holidays? Can you run that, so the annual reviews run a calendar year? And then when those are approved and reviewed at the beginning, so let's say 2024 is being reviewed currently now, those approvals will then go into the current budget that we just approved?
That way we can offer a floating holiday within this fiscal year if you achieve a certain level from your 24 evaluation performance.
And that's where I thought Mr. Harper was going. So did we account for some of those holidays in the budgeting process? Is that?
No, that's why we're saying the personnel policy right now is silent on no recognition of anything called a floating holiday. And so we had talked about, is there a way to link pay for performance and not have a monetary impact on the budget? So this was
That's where the holiday's coming in,
yeah.
because it's not a monetary, it's a
Correct.
non-monetary benefit.
Correct. Because that way you have to use it or lose it within the fiscal year.
That's what I wanted to make sure that there wasn't any additional costs.
So to be clear, the performance evaluation section in the personnel manual allows for the potential for pay as well, an increase in salary based on performance evaluation. This was an additional option that's in there in the event the budget is not there for the pay. So the floating holiday is something that was added as an incentive. And to your question, the way the performance evaluation is currently written, they are done on an annual basis. So the one that just ended at the end of December 2024, because you budget and you decide for the next fiscal year, that's why it starts July 1st, because they're going to bleed into each other.
Gotcha.
Based on the annual versus the fiscal year. So in speaking to the administrator, we discussed it needs to be based on the 2024 evaluations that were completed, because you all have already adopted the budget and said the floating holiday would be what this year was for the performance evaluations. So they'll kick in effective July 1 on based on whatever level the administrator sets.
Got it. That's the clarity that I needed. Thank you.
Do we have any additional questions? Are you okay, Mr. Harper, with the expense thing now? Okay. All right. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, it passes unanimously. I bet you sighed a sigh of relief when you got up there and you wasn't having to present about the budget. Okay, we're going to go on to item 8E, third reading of ordinance number 2025-1975. An ordinance to amend the Lancaster County Code related to the appointment of the county attorney. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Have a motion from Mr. Luis and a second from Mr. Neal. Mr. Marstall.
Mr. Chairman, this has come forward from a council request as a third reading to highlight that that the county council, not the county administrator, shall appoint the qualified attorney or outside of council to serve as county attorney. The county attorney shall serve at the pleasure and discretion of the county council, and the salary of the county council shall be determined by the county council. It's a change that we've made to this part of the ordinance to recognize the attorney position as being under the council, but yet on a day-to-day basis with the chairman and the administrator work on the day-to-day responsibilities.
Have any questions, comments?
No, in my position, it's still the same. I really do think it needs to be within the administrators because as chair and as council members, I don't know how we're going to manage a position other than our county administrator and now try to manage the legal position. I just think it's going to cause some problems.
Thank you, Ms. McGriff. Any other comments? Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed? The vote is 6-4 and 1 opposed. Okay, we're going to move on to item 8F. First reading of ordinance number 2025-1967, an ordinance to amend the Lancaster County Code related to the residency requirement for certain leadership positions, postponed at the June 9, 2025 council meeting. Mr. Marstone.
Chairman and council members, there's a request from County Council to again make a tweak to the ordinance related to staff residency. Right now, the county code outlines that 3 positions within the county: the administrator, deputy administrator, and
I think we need a motion to bring.
I'm sorry. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a motion from Ms. McGriff.
Second.
Second from Mr. Graham.
Thank you. The 3 positions that have a residency requirement, as it was stipulated, is that the 3 positions, and now with the formation of the county attorney to be a 4th position that this would apply to, shall have residency. The council's now proposed in the past 2 readings to add more clarity as to what residency is defined as. And it's evidenced by multiple factors, including but not limited to the declared residence by via rental property or purchase of primary residence, driver's license, automobile registration, and voter registration. In the past, it seemed that from prior discussion with county council, there was a focus on residency, which was generally, I'll say, interpreted by me and some others about being leases, about where they were actually having a residence. But now that this clarification will be very clear for all involved about what council is expecting for documentation for residency. So I think this clarification outlines it and address our concerns from the second reading. So I bring that forward.
Okay, I do have a question because this is listed as first reading in our agenda.
Oh, we postponed it. That's right. So it is first reading we brought back, yeah.
So
it's first reading, right? Yeah, first reading.
It is first reading, because we never did anything with it.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Let's get it clear now. I want this clear because I'm very concerned with this. So what about the ones that are affected? That's gone away. This is from now on.
Right. Yes. So it says everyone who's
Shaking her head over there. Why are you shaking your head, Jen?
So the second part of the ordinance originally had a deadline, so that has now changed. There is still a deadline for residency to be met, but it is now December 31st, 2025.
Okay.
And then after January 1st, 2026, it will revert from 12 months to obtain residency back to 6 months, which is what it was originally.
From this day forward.
Well, from January 1st, 2026 forward, it'll be 6 months to obtain residency. Right now, it's the year by the end of this calendar year to get your residency.
Okay.
Multiple factors, yes, ma'am.
And I don't have a discussion, I just want to have a comment. So I just want to say I'm glad that we're acknowledging the issue. We've recognized it. We're correcting, we're giving some additional time for folks to complete these residency requirements. I would like to note some of the comments that were made earlier. This is an exception This is the second exception that we have done, because it's the second extension that we have done. I expect that this will be completed by the end of this year. And I expect you to give us an update and to verify that these things are happening. And to the questions that are happening to the residents in Lancaster County, we will hold people accountable for this and just make sure that we are doing what we are required to do under our ordinances.
So when you say update, Jose, do you say update from the administrator, or you said update from our legal counsel?
What do you mean?
You said
an update from the county administrator.
Okay, I just
Yep.
want to make sure who you're referring to.
All right, do we have any other discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, vote is 7-0. It passes unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, can we put this as part of the consent agenda?
We can if that's fine. Yeah.
It's unanimous.
All right, we're going to go on to item 8G, public hearing and third reading of ordinance number 2025-1966. An ordinance providing for the imposition of a transportation sales and use tax subject to a November 4th, 2025 referendum pursuant to Title IV, Chapter 37 of the Code of Laws of South Carolina, 1976, as amended, ordering a referendum in connection therewith and providing for matters related thereto. This passed 5-2 at the June 9th, 2025 County Council meeting. Steve Harper and Billy Mosteller opposed. Passed 5-2 at the June 23rd, 2025 council meeting. Again, Steve Harper and Billy Mosteller opposed. Mr. Marstall.
We have a public.
Veto.
We have a public hearing. First, we need to identify.
We don't have anyone signed up for the public hearing, so we'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a motion from Mr.
Second.
Luis, second from Ms. McGriff.
If you want to advance that.
All right, here we go. Once again, thank you all for having us here, and once again, we're talking about a road funding proposal as a form of a transportation tax. And again, we've gone through this information a good bit, so again, with the miles of road in the county and the need for a funding source, Lancaster County, it's been a long journey, and there are a lot of folks involved with it. Well, just to answer some questions that we get, well, the county's doing this, the county's doing that. Yes, we are, but we are doing this in conjunction with the SCDOT, all of our MPOs, our municipalities. So it's, a lot of these roads are under the jurisdiction of DOT, so we've worked well with them, asked them to prioritize and help us. And they want to be an asset with this as well. So again, just from having boots on the ground of it for over a year now, I'd like to thank all of them for what they've done. And again, your current funding estimates, ST2 Proviso, those two magical roads are the only two left on that, so that'll be done. We are into the roads that were on Capital Sales Tax 3. Your Transportation Committee for the second year in a row got no additional funding, so they get roughly about $2 million a year, and they're programmed out until 2027. So that as that work comes in, you'll be, down to a relatively small funding source. And again, at the retreat, we met and discussed last year's ballot question. We went, for the full 20 years and $405 million, and council kind of came back at the retreat and said, let's scale that down and be a little more specific and try to cover as much of our county as we can, addressing most of the needs first. We feel like we've done that. The CTC came with a recommendation of $216 million, and staff, after staff also with conferring with SCDOT, found some other projects, and here's the breakdowns of that again. Again, this is a transportation tax, not a capital sales tax. So basically what you're doing is buckets of funding. Individual roads won't be listed on the ballot, but in our education campaign, we'll cover all of that. Again, we just want to inform people as much as we can at what they'll be looking at, what they can expect. So with that, we have the major widenings projected. And then we had 147 roads, 8 from the town of Heath Spring, 32 from the town of Kershaw, 30 from the town of Lancaster, and the rest, both SCDOT and Lancaster County roads throughout the rest of the county. I run this thing. I give up. Okay.
There we go.
There we go. This is the ballot question. I'll let Mr. Marstow and Ms. DuPont discuss that.
Oh, so we do have the ballot question as presented now. This is in the ordinance, and this is the exact language that voters would see. If council wants to make any amendments to this, you can do so tonight. We do have other outside legal counsel to guide us in this conversation. But as Mr. Cato highlighted, all these buckets total up to $253 million. It does, as a ballot question, give the voter a sense of what will be on the ballot with the actual certain roads identified, because there's so many roads. The full list will be incorporated, is incorporated right now into the ordinance, and will be part of the education campaign. But this will give you, so basically the $98 million right now is addressing 2 of the major widenings, the 521 and Henry Harris. There's some conversation about can we do some others within there. But then we talk about intersection improvements. We've identified those. Also roundabouts are in our future throughout the county. Those have been identified. Then you look at some of the road resurfacing, and that's where we have the information on the individual towns and the city. And what Mr. Cato was talking about, our cooperation with the SCDOT, how they've prioritized some roads, and then certainly what we do with our county portions of the roads. That would be the biggest bucket, or second biggest bucket, for $90 million. And then even a little bit of funds to help support some of our greenways and sidewalk needs, and then certainly addressing some of the right-of-way acquisition that may become part of our project work. And then some of the other implementation costs going forward. The key point is this was for 10 years. The sales tax would be imposed from 8% to 9% over 10 years, generate roughly $253 million to cover these expenses. And then there is a second question on the ballot, which is the next slide. Then voters will also be asked to approve an issuance not exceeding $100 million payable from the special sales and tax described in question 1. What we're doing is basically asking voters if they will allow the county to bond against a portion of that 253 revenue so we can do projects concurrently. Instead of waiting for as the money comes in for us to pay as you go, if we need to commit $60 million or do a match for some road to get some state funds or federal funds, we can provide that money up front if we have the borrowing capacity up to $100 million. So the $100 million is not in addition to, it is part of the 253. It's just ability for us to be able to move projects forward with an amount of money approved by voters. And then, next slide, we have the...
Before you go, go back, Jeff. I think when you're doing the educational piece in the community, please explain that a little more clearer.
Okay.
Because those are some of the concerns folks didn't quite understand it. And Jeff, if you go back one more to question 1, folks are going to want to know roads. So when you're educating the community, please have a list of roads. I know we can't put it on there, but please have a list of roads to give them to say, these are the roads that are on the list. And when it comes to Greenway, can we specify in the educational piece which Greenway and some of the things we're planning on doing?
That is, we have not specified because there are many options, and so we're not sure that $2 million is going to cover all the options, so that will be council's
The question's already come up to me about what you're going to do with the Greenway. I don't know.
And so the 2 leading candidates certainly are, well, we got 3. Continuing to expand upon the Carolina Thread Trail, which is established in the region, to either extend a portion of those, extend the Pettis Greenway, or 3, work on a new 6 Mile Creek Greenway along 6 Mile Creek. And then it also has money for sidewalks. So,
but just have those options there. If the question comes up, these are some of the options. We may not be able to fund all, but this is where we're going to choose from. I think it'll help with folks understanding the entire referendum.
All right, do we have any other questions?
We do want to highlight the last slide there for the schedule, if you'll go to the end. So depending on the action tonight, this is the timeline we're working under. We need to get it to the voter registration. If you move forward, then we'd have the opportunity to educate the public about the full $253 million. And it is, if you look in your agenda packet tonight, for anyone online watching, we do have 4.5 pages of all the roads that are slated for a portion of improvement. So people will see the roads in what communities. We have it broken out by towns, the city, and then this would be on the November 4th general election if you choose to go forward tonight.
I would like to make a motion to amend to add Harrisburg Road and Barberville roads to the major widenings bucket.
Okay, we have a motion to amend from Mr. Luis. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Mr. Graham. Any discussion?
What will that do to the budget?
Yeah.
It stays the same.
It stays the same. You would have to take from that widening, or I would recommend that you take from that widening.
And so your motion is to include it in that bucket with the 521 and
98.
Henry Harris, yep. It's the
Are
first.
there going to be enough money to do that, Jeff?
Well, it is what it is.
On the 98 million?
Yeah.
Right?
It's gonna take away from something.
I mean, if you come up short, who's going, which road's
It's gonna be
going,
the widening that's gonna come up short.
It stays within that same bucket, correct?
same amount of money? But you're adding another road to that. So that's going to take away from the other roads. I don't know, it just don't sound logical, but.
Well, you're not going to widen all the way down 521 with 98 million anyway. So it's recognizing that you're going to use funds of the 98 million to accomplish hopefully the best uses of those projects on those roads.
Please make that clear in the explanation to the citizens, because they're going to think it's going to be 521 from one end to the other. Please explain. If we put that in there, we can only go as far as our money will take us.
Well, we do need to realize that we'll also be applying for funds from the State Transportation Bank. And so that was always the intent of at least a portion of that $98 million would go to match that grant coming from the Transportation Bank. And
So what about chances of getting that?
It won't get done if we don't get that.
That's what I'm saying. What are
There
our
ain't enough
chances?
money to
Brian?
do it.
our chances are really good because we've never received any money from the Transportation Bank. And, they look at people that have the match to get the money, number one, and then secondly, they also look at how many times you've gotten much or money from the Transportation Bank. York County, I think, has gotten at least 2 buckets or maybe 3. Charleston's got it a couple of times. So,
Brian, what did we ask for specifically in this grant that we applied for specifically?
We have requested from the State Infrastructure Bank in a different program for $43 million, and they're putting in a local match. So it is a $50 to $52 million project that would do a widening for 2.3 miles of Highway 521 from the state line down south. So that's our plan A and plan B. If we get that money, that's great. And we can start working on 521 as soon as we get it. But with the transportation sales tax, the proposal is a portion of that $98 could also be used as a match. $98 million. Because what Mr. Carnes was saying is that the state looks for the local jurisdiction to have investment. And if we can say of that $98 million, 50 million or 40 million, we're willing to commit if they'll match it with more. So our overall goal is to leverage this sales tax initiative with state funds and even federal funds. And so, yes.
I agree. I hope absolutely we get it. I just want the folks to understand if we don't get it, what might happen. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Mr.
A
Harper.
couple of points. I'm not against this. I'm against it at this time. Here we sit on July the 21st. In last November the 5th, our voters told us no. That's less than 9 months. The other major concern is the second for the bottom line, the right-of-way acquisition, permitting, program and management, implementation cost. That is way, 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 way under budgeted. That'll be blown out on before you could get high 521 or whatever. And I think we need, if you're going to present something to be realistic to the public, you need to present realistic terms. And 5 million is underestimated. And I think you're putting the bigger numbers up there for paving. And it's kind of, to me, it's a bait and switch, because we know what overhead and what it costs to implement a project. I mean, you're talking a third of the cost or more probably on these projects. So I'm just that's my concern, my two concerns.
I got some questions.
Go ahead, Mr. Mosteller.
What is this $9 million I think we had for the capital sales tax that was going to 521 widening? Where's this going to come in at?
The money that we have applied for, that $10 million that was out of the previous sales tax, or is in the current sales tax,
It's in
will be
3.
used as a match for that money, because we had to have a match for that money as well.
Okay. But don't we have to have that used done in a certain time frame?
Yes. So the $10 million that voters approved in Capital Project Sales Tax 3 is dedicated to 521 work. If we can leverage that with the grant that we just submitted for $43 million, we're on our way. If we don't get that grant, we don't get the transportation sales tax, we still have $10 million that we will plan and program to do some type of improvement, although limited, on 521. So we have to as part of the capital project sales tax.
Go ahead, Mr. Mosteller.
Another thing, Jeff, I've heard some talk about something about this road fee that we currently have. This is not going to affect that, is it?
I can take that. No, this is a separate standalone proposal. If you all as council want to do something different with the existing road use fee, we can have that conversation as well.
We got to continue that, because that's what all of our county roads is taken care of with and stuff. I mean, that ain't something that we can do away with, in my opinion. Also, there was one other thing that I had. 521. Yeah, the money for, I've had some of the utility people's talk to me, and y'all have heard me say this before about, they say they don't have money to move the utilities. It said that county better have some money to pay for moving water and sewer and digging under the roads and all that. They said that could be at $8 to $10 million a mile. Are we calculating anything in for?
Yes, in concept, it is calculated into the buckets, because projects this large, yes, whoever administers that particular project, whether it's us on a county road, DOT on a DOT road, us administering a DOT road under encroachment, that local agency will be almost 100% financially responsible to move the utilities, which is why when we started this a year ago, and to get back at what Councilman Harper addressed as well, utilities and right-of-way are really when people say what's taking it so long, that's what's going to be what takes it so long, is the utilities and the right-of-way. So while that number for right-of-way acquisition at $5 million, that's not right-of-way for every project up there. Those buckets, the concepts have some right-of-way acquisition in them. And of course, obviously, A lot of these roads are state roads, so we're going to look for the DOT to acquire the right-of-way or leverage that in some way, shape, or form.
And one other thing, I'm with Mr. Harper. As I said, the first and second reading, I think it's too early to bring this back for 2025. I think, as Mr. Harper said, we just voted on this in November and turn around and bring this back. I think it's too early, and I'm scared if the people shoot it down this time that it could be really devastating to this to know when we'd ever get it. So that's my opinion on it. Thank you.
Do we have any further discussion? Okay,
We've got a amendment.
No, that we've got a amendment on the floor. We have a motion and a second for that amendment. I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor of the amendment, please raise your right hand. The amendment passes 7-0. Okay, now we'll move back to the original motion as amended.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Mr.
I do have a question. So on there's listed, for example, South White Drive, 3 Crow Road, Old Hickory Road intersection alignment. I know that intersection is going to be addressed by a developer in the town of Van Wyck. So as part of this process, does it make sense to take that off and replace it with another one in that area that needs to be done, which would be Old Hickory and Still Hill?
Old Hickory is on the paving part of it. You're asking me?
I'm just saying.
I wouldn't take it off simply because we don't have we, the county and our development services, we don't have confirmation that there's a developer going to do anything to Southwick, 3 Crow, and Old Hickory. So that recommendation also came to us from DOT. They don't have, and it could be,
No, it is. It's a development that's coming through on a piece of property, and they're going to have to fix that intersection. So I know that intersection is going to be fixed in the near future, but also know there's an intersection right down the street that's had 2 cars go through a business because that intersection's out of whack. So I would like to make an amendment to switch out South White Drive, 3 Crow Road.
If I may, procedurally, since we're back to third reading of the ordinance as amended, we need a motion and second there and discussion for him to make the amendment again, because we've moved on from Mr. Luis's amendment and voted on it, so we can't amend his amendment.
Okay, I make a motion to approve.
Where we at?
So we need to approve the third reading of the ordinance as Mr. Luis amended it, second, and then Mr. Graham can make his amendment. No, they have not. He just made a motion.
We voted on the amendment. We haven't voted on the original motion as amended.
Right. Mr. Graham, are you making the motion for third reading as amended so that we can move forward with this process again?
Yes.
Okay, so we need a second.
Second. Okay, we have.
Now in your discussion, Chair Carnes, Mr. Graham can make his amendment.
Make an amendment to remove South White Drive, 3 Crow Road, Old Hickory Road intersection, and add Still Hill and Old Hickory as an intersection.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
How do we got any idea, what's the difference in the cost? I mean, at this point, third reading, how much does A cost and how much is B? I mean,
And I don't understand, is it a done deal with, is it a done deal because developers are talking about it? Does it mean it's going to happen?
Yeah, it's going to be a requirement of the development.
I mean, is there anything in writing that tell us this?
Well, I mean, in my district, I would personally say that this intersection that I just proposed is more important than the other one, because it's on a major thoroughfare. The other one's kind of on a parallel street.
So you made a substitution?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. That's not included, right?
Is the cost going to be about the same, Jeff, or you don't really know, do you?
Given that Old Hickory and Steel Hill was not recommended to us by DOT, we don't have a cost on it. We haven't looked at that concept.
Okay.
Where we at?
We have a motion and a second right now. Voted up or down?
I think the clerk and I are, who was the second on Mr. Graham's? Okay, Mr. Lees. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, I call for the vote for the amendment. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed? It passes 4-3. Okay, now we're back to a motion to
Third reading as amended.
So moved.
have a motion from Mr. Luis,
Second.
second from Mr. Graham. Any additional discussions?
I do, Mr. Chair, I do have another comment. Does it make sense for us to, we talked about the greenways, does it make sense for us to allocate certain amounts specifically for the Lindsay Pettis Greenway? I'd like to propose that we set aside a specific amount for Lindsay Pettis.
I think we talked about that earlier. We had $2 million, and we had options as to, because.
To be clear, I'd like to clarify that greenway is an important piece to the county and to the city, and I'd like to ensure that they would get it's a part of that.
I don't know. I really don't, because if it's $2 million, they could get the majority or half, depending on the needs, right? Depending on what's chosen. You're trying to do a specific dollar amount regardless, right?
Yeah, I would propose $1 million for the Lindsay Pettis Greenway over 10 years.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Discussion.
Now, what are you wanting to do? You're wanting to.
Out of the money that's set aside for the greenways, they're proposing to
Give $1 million.
giving $1 million of that to the Lindsay Pettis Greenway.
What are you going to give the others to?
Yeah.
That
Well, again,
several different options.
Again, I in kind of in the spirit of Ms. McGriff, is to be clear and clarify where that $2 million would go. I wanted to ensure that a portion of that would go to the Lindsay Pettis and remove any ambiguity in that this process.
I don't matter to me if they get.
So, Council, if I may, Mr. Pope's going to help us through this because you're changing, I believe I understand your amendment is you're trying to change the ballot question to add something on the greenways to specifically lay out the Lindsay Pettis and an amount. So, Mr. Pope, I'd like Mr. Pope to help us through that since it's the ballot question, because we also have the attachment that has roads and other things on it. So I want to make sure we're clear where we're making these changes, whether it's the attachments or whether it's the ballot question.
Right. So Gary Pope, Pope Flynn, nice to be with you tonight. One place you could make it, and this is certainly up to you, would be to amend the description of the greenways in Exhibit D to indicate funding for greenways trails, including $1 million for the Lindsay Pettis Greenway. And that would not change the way it looks on the ballot, but under sort of the structure that we've sort of gone with, we have a sort of easily digestible ballot and then a good fulsome list of all of the projects that are listed in detail as Exhibit D to the ordinance.
That makes sense to me.
You're going to change your motion.
got a
Change
question.
my motion to that.
I'll second that one.
Okay?
I'll withdraw and
We
change.
have other questions.
I got a question. If there's $2 million in there for the Greenway, why don't you just give $2 million to it?
Because I think there are other viable projects that we might not know about or may come up over the next 10 years that we should have the ability to use those funds for. And Mr. Marstall said two of them. One is the proposed 6 Mile Creek and then the Carolina Thread Trail. So
There are some others that would be.
And then even some sidewalk work, if you want some sidewalk work where you see where future schools may be in the next 10 years, if there's some opportunity that we could help with mobility for sidewalks, that has a broader span than just the greenways too.
I know that MUSC, when we were at our meeting, expressed some support for 6 Mile Creek Greenway because it is part of their property. And, it's in their interest to promote healthy lifestyles, that they're very interested in that as well. So We're back to our third amendment.
And just to be clear, because I think Ms. McGriff was asking a question of, so we moved it from the ballot question to the ordinance.
Right, to the exhibit projects on page D5 of the ordinance.
Yep.
All right. Is there any other discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second for the amendment. All those in favor, please raise your right hand.
What, can we clarify that before I vote again, what we're voting on?
So Mr. Pope helped me because you helped put it right in there. So instead, we're making a specific greenway designation, and you're giving it a specific amount, but instead of putting it in your ballot question, it's going to be in the attachment, which is part of the ordinance that lays out the roads that we'll be using these funds on, the greenways, other projects, et cetera. So that will be kind of your guideline, your guidepost as you move forward. Since you can't put it all on the ballot question, that ordinance is going to guide how we use the money, and only council can change that exhibit later down the road. So you're not changing the ballot question.
I understand that, but that additional $1 million is it's optional as to how we use it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. And then I just to clarify, because the administrator and I were just talking about it, and Mr. Pope, make sure you're in agreement with me. The other two amendments that have been made were made to the ballot questions. To change the bucket for 98 to add Barberville and Harrisburg was Mr. Luis's motion. And then Mr. Graham's was to change the intersection alignment, I think, in the 38 million bucket from Old Steel Hill and Old Hickory Road, correct?
Steel Hill and Old Hickory, yes.
Steel Hill, okay. And that is to the ballot buckets.
Why don't we do another amendment just to make that really clear that those are on the ballot and not in the exhibit?
Gotcha.
We got an amendment on the floor to vote on.
Yeah, we'll do that one, and then we'll go back to this. I just wanted to make sure we're clear because we are jumping around here. And Mr. Pope and I want to be on the same page. I was going with it. You had made those amendments to the ballot question.
We have.
But just to
I
clarify.
wrote down that they were on the exhibit, so it may be helpful given that there's confusion to, y'all have the ability to clarify that right now, and I think now would be a great time to do that if you're interested.
Let's vote for the amendment on the floor right now. All those in favor of the amendment?
It's a Lindsay Pettis one.
$1 million for the Lindsay Pettis Greenway. Okay, that motion passes 7-0. And we're back to the original question.
Third reading.
Third reading.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Now, we need the motion to clarify the previous motions.
So
I can help with that if you'd
Okay.
like me to. So as we understood it, the amendments were made, and the amendment would be to ensure that in the $98 million bucket for major widenings, we are adding Barberville and Harrisburg. And in the $38 million bucket for intersection improvements, we are striking Southwick Drive, Three Crow Road, Old Hickory Road, and replacing intersection alignment and replacing it with Steel Hill, Old Hickory Road.
I make that
Okay.
as
Second.
The whole thing. All right, we have a motion and a second.
Okay.
Again, discussion. Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. We have a motion 5. All those against? Votes 5-2.
Please.
Okay, now we're back to the original question. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Approved?
So moved.
Amended.
second.
We have a motion from Mr. Luis and a second from Mr. Graham. Is there any discussion? Are we clear where we're at?
There seems to be some discussion here at the podium. I just want to make sure, did we get the correct?
Got it fine. We were just discussing on the Barberville, Harrisburg.
Huh?
That's probably going to be portions of it, won't be the whole, but we'll cover that in the education campaign.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the original motion.
Third reading as amended multiple times.
Right. Any other discussion? Not, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, motion passes 5-2.
Now, Jenny, could you go through all of the, we just.
I will do my best if you would like me to.
Okay, we're moving on to item 9, discussion and action items. Ms. Simpson.
Mr. Chairman and council members, the first applicant up for appointment is with the Keep Lancaster County Beautiful Committee. Ms. Brusky has reapplied to serve another term, but she's currently serving an unexpired term, so this would actually be her first term that would end on 6/30/2029.
All right, we have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Luis, second from Mr. Graham. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Okay. Item 9.2.
Okay, the second appointment is for Christopher Amadeo to serve another term, which would be his second term on the Recreation Advisory Board. His second term would end on 6/30/2029 if reappointed.
All right, have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
A motion from Mr. Luis, a second from Mr. Graham. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? It's unanimous, 7-0. Okay,
Okay, Mr. Chairman and council members, for this third item, this would be a third term, so it would require a supermajority vote of county council. This is Mr. Michael DeMarco applying for his third term on the Board of Assessment Appeals. His term would end on 6/30/2029.
okay, do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion from Mr. Harper, a second from Mr. Neal. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, it's unanimous, 7-0.
Okay, this next one is for the Historical Commission. District 2 and District 7 have positions available because we've had recent resignations. So District 2 and District 7, we had resignation from current advisor positions because, as you know, the Historical Commission has advisor positions. They have 6 of those, and they like to move up their advisors into the current representative spots. So for 2 and 7, 2 is Richard Van Hall, and 7 is Robbie Knight. And if we could take separate votes on this, because
No, on mine's, I need to find somebody in my district. I want an opportunity to look for somebody in District 2 before I would make a recommendation.
we can pull that one.
Yeah, give me to the next meeting to see whether I can find somebody in my district to be represented on that
Okay.
committee.
So District 7, Robbie Knight has applied for a term. So we can vote on that separate from these advisor positions.
Motion to approve Robbie Knight to move up from an advisor to District 7 representative.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous.
And then we have
Could
2
I
advisor spots. I'm
I
sorry.
ask a question when we move on. Who in District 2, who left that position? Who was representing District 2 before Mr. Hall came up?
I would have to look at,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't have that information available with me right now.
Can you email that to me, please?
I sure can. So we have 2 advisor positions available. We've actually had a resignation, and then you appointed somebody from Mr. Knight to fill District 7. And that was from Paul Kelch and Jeffrey Roberts. So they would be filling unexpired terms, I believe.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Neal, the second from Ms. McGriff. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous.
Okay, then we have, at your last meeting, you appointed Chief Caldwell to be the Kershaw Fire Department representative on the Fire Commission. This was done in error, so he has resigned, and he is requesting that Todd Duncan be the Kershaw Fire Department representative for the Fire Commission.
All right, do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Neal, the second from Mr. Mosteller. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, it's unanimous.
Okay, and the last one tonight for the Board of Assessment Appeals, Greg Bailey for District 7. This would be his first term.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion from Ms. McGriff. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Mosteller. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous.
And then the current vacancies do not include what you voted on tonight, and then the upcoming expirations also do not include what you voted on tonight, but they are in your agenda packet.
All right, we're going to move on through item 10A, 10B. We're going to item 11. We have an executive session.
Mr. Chair, just a question on 10A and 10B. Do we have any movement on those? I mean, we have any idea if those ones are coming back?
I might can help with that. The applicant has asked to have it postponed, and they have not given a date yet. They're supposed to get back in touch with us on a date. So we will keep it in the postpone until we hear back from them.
Can we give them a date so we don't have, I mean, does that make sense?
I'm going to let the county attorney take that one.
Well, so I believe if I'm correct on the UDO, and I think Director Williams may be sitting down there, they can request a continuance at one point. So that's what they've done at this point. So I'm not sure the UDO can force them back in, but I'll let her speak to that if I'm incorrect in what I'm stating.
She is absolutely correct. Currently, the UDO has no requirements for withdrawing, deferring, or how long they can wait. That has been a discussion that we've bounced around to add that in to the administrative section, hopefully to get some clarification, because we personally don't like that either. But right now, currently, we don't have any way to force them. The last email that I received from them is they're still working through some things, but I honestly don't know what things they're working through at this moment.
All right. I need a motion to go into executive session in regards to 3 items. The receipt of legal advice subject to the attorney-client privilege regarding a potential contractual matter related to the Enterprise Resource Planning ERP system. The receipt of legal advice subject to the attorney-client privilege regarding a potential contractual matter related to impact fees, and the discussion of personnel matters pursuant to South Carolina Code of Laws 30-4-70A1 related to the County Administrator's Office, and to invite County Chief Financial Officer in to discuss the first item.
So moved.
We have a motion from Mr. McGriff. We have a second.
Second.
Have a second from Mr. Graham. Any discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous. We're going into executive session.